I think it is. There's a reason why they pay those guys. You need to hand the ball off a little bit when you have receivers who are struggling. You run the ball so you can open up the pass game and hopefully get some of those receivers on some one-on-one coverage. Let Aaron Rodgers put the ball in the correct spot. Let those guys catch it. Maybe they don't move the chains, but at least he can give them a clean catch. So no, Aaron Rodgers, he's not done yet. He'll be there next year.
It's weird because it almost felt like we all saw this coming when he took that huge extension. It was like, well, who are you going to throw it to? Because like it was days later, Devontae Adams left. So it was like, okay, would you have took that extension knowing Devontae Adams wasn't going to be there? That's a question that'll float out there. But it's wild watching Aaron Rodgers just look completely disgusted with his offense, like just throwing the ball to random patches of turf. It's just like just giving up on plays. They got a Cowboys team coming in here that's looking really good. I don't think I was looking at the Packers schedule. It's going to be tough sledding. I don't know where they're going to get wins from. Like they're 3-7, I think, right now. So, and they are not in the NFC South. So their season's a little bit more done than say the NFC South. Larry, let's hit you up real quick in the sports buffet. Speaking of the NFC South, Carolina beating Atlanta Thursday night. They're a game and a half out of first place right now. I Bleav Tampa is leading this division at 4-6 or something to that effect. If you had to choose today, who wins the NFC South?
I'm still not going off what I said, at the beginning of, I think it was last week's show. I think right now, if you look at this division, and it sounds funny, guys, but the Panthers, the rest of the schedule, have control of winning this division. This division is going to be won by 8 games. Everybody's going to say Tampa Bay, because the talent they have. But remember, Carolina plays Tampa Bay one more time this year. They play the Saints one more. And guess what? They have the best divisional record out of all the teams. All 3 wins have come versus divisional foes. I'm telling you what, you take a young team that really build their confidence and get it going, they become more dangerous than a team like Tampa Bay that has the ability.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like I've said it before. It feels like 2014. And for those who don't remember, 2014, the NFC South was putrid. It was horrible. Yeah. Carolina came into the last week of November 3-8-1. And then Cam Newton flipped his truck on the interstate right by the Coliseum or the Bank of America Stadium. Had to miss a week. Derek Anderson came in relief. They beat Tampa. And then they went on a run. They won out December, finished the season 7-8-1. And won the division, went to the playoffs and won that playoff game too against Arizona. And they have the record still to this day for least amount of yards allowed on defense in a playoff game in NFL history was in that game. And that set up 2015 when the Panthers went on their Super Bowl run and went 15-1. So for all the Panther fans out there, me and Skylar will get into it a little bit later on today about that win and what it means for the Panthers. The Panthers are still in it. For those that are sitting here looking around, talking about C.J. Stroud and, third pick of the draft, and we need to get a high draft pick, forget all that nonsense. This is football. Like, one dude's not going to make that big of an impact on a 53-man roster, where in the NBA, yeah, sure, there's 12 guys on the team. You get a generational talent like a LeBron James or Kobe Bryant or maybe this Victor Wembanyama kid that's coming in, that can change your franchise. Joel Embiid, you get that one piece, you can build around it. But like in the football, you can't really do that. Like you could point at the Bengals, I guess, and Joe Burrow, but even then they were 10-7 last year when the playoffs started, and they just got hot. It wasn't like they were all of a sudden great because of one guy. Even Kansas City, they were good before Mahomes started. So I mean, you can't say we're one dude away or whatever. We need to start tanking because players don't tank. That's just not how they're wired.
And this is a big game this weekend. Beating Baltimore would be a sign that they are
next Sunday. So a week from tomorrow.
Next Sunday.
Yeah, a week from tomorrow. So they kind of got like a little mini bye because they played on Thursday. Honestly, me and Sky looked at the schedule. That might be the toughest game they have left in terms of like talent level. Everything else is kind of division. They got Seattle, Geno Smith, who actually is an MVP candidate, maybe. I think they got Steelers are in there. They're floating. So it could be interesting for the Panthers if they can keep this up here. Mike, let's go over to NBA real quick. Speaking of generational talents and teams that may be tanking, my Charlotte Hornets are like 3-10. They're awful. LaMelo Ball is yet to play a regular season game with a high ankle sprain. Gordon Hayward's injured, of course. They're banged up all over the place. Dennis Smith Jr. is day to day. They play Miami tonight on a back-to-back. They just lost to him in overtime. Should the Hornets tank for Victor? That's the question I'm going to ask you. And if so, how should they go about doing this in a tactful manner?
Well, the way the lottery's set up now, I don't think tanking is the right answer. There is Victor Wembanyama. If you look out at the first overall pick, you got a generational talent. You got Scoot right after Victor Wembanyama. So if you get the second pick, it's a pretty good consolation prize. And maybe like top 5, 6 players, you're good. But I hate the idea of tanking. I feel like LaMelo's out. You have some talent. Once LaMelo comes back, he's changed this team. We've seen it the last couple of years when the Hornets have played before LaMelo, after LaMelo. He energizes this team to play above their talent level. That way the Hornets can continue on. And I don't know if they make the playoffs this year, but I don't know. As a Hornets fan, do you even want to see them to tank and lose games?
Kind of. I mean, normally I would say no, but after seeing what they're doing right now, it's like, do I want this team to make the playoffs? Like, it almost feels like they're doing this by design. And I mentioned this to the Sports Illustrated crew that I work with because we write Hornets stuff, and I was like, maybe the Hornets are actually trying to tank. Think back on it. What did they do in the offseason? They didn't do anything. They didn't sign anybody. They sent an offer to Miles Bridges. We saw what happened with that. But no trades, no real attempt to upgrade the roster. It was like they were content with what they had. And then,
but as a fan, how can you want your team to tank? How can you sit there and root for your team to lose? I couldn't do that.
I can't root for them to lose. No, as a fan, no. But as a sports media personality reporting on the Hornets, I understand what they're doing. If that's what they're doing, because I have seen Victor Wembanyama. This dude is 7'3" and has handles like Kevin Durant and a shot like him too. Like, imagine Kevin Durant at 7'3", and that's basically kind of what it is. You put that with LaMelo for the next 3 years. Now you're cooking with fish grease. That's something that you can. The NBA, you got to have a top 10 player to make a difference. Like, you just literally do. If you look at all the rosters, the ones that are really good, except for Utah for some reason. I don't know why Utah's leading the NBA. They've got like 10 wins already. And
they got a chip on their shoulder.
They were trying to be bad. Like this year, they traded all their players away, and they're winning basketball games. And then you got a team like the Lakers that can't win no matter what they do, and they're just totally falling apart right now. I'm going to open this up now to the full panel. Staying in the NBA, one of the things I wanted to talk about that we didn't get a chance to really get into last week is this case with Kyrie Irving. What should the Nets do with Kyrie Irving? Everyone knows the story by now. Kyrie's apologized. He's still suspended, but he's indefinitely suspended. And Stephen A. brought this up on First Take this week. I do have a problem. I had a problem with Kyrie not understanding what he did, but I also have a problem with the NBA indefinitely suspending him, for this. Like that feels a bit harsh for what he just tweeted out a link to this movie. He didn't really comment on the movie. He didn't really. The only thing he really said was he identified with certain parts of the movie, but that was being naive. He's apologized for that since then. I guess my question to you guys would be, what should the Nets do with Kyrie? Because they've actually been playing better without him. Do you cut him? Is he tradable? What do you do here? Like, what would you do? Rod, starting off with you, what would you do here with Kyrie?
I mean, Kyrie Irving is one of those guys who always thinks he's the smartest person in the room. So that's problem number one with him. And he runs his mouth way, way too much. Granted, he put a link out, didn't clarify what his meaning was or his intention was on putting that link out, nor clarifying how he directly, was affected by it or how he, was with that link. And that leaves the right for people to think whatever it is that they want to think. To me, Kyrie Irving only apologized because he was getting suspended and something was going to happen to him. Other than that, when he was told that he needed to apologize, he doubled down and wasn't going to do anything. And it wasn't until he was getting suspended indefinitely that, hey, now I'll apologize. I understand what you're saying about him being suspended indefinitely is not cool. I do kind of understand that. But maybe with a guy like Kyrie Irving, you have to do an indefinite suspension because otherwise he will not listen to reason upon anything. Why? Because he still thinks he's the smartest person in the room. He probably still thinks the earth is flat. You know what I'm saying? As long as he went through that whole ordeal. So with a guy like him, you may not like it, but you might have to do that. And, maybe the Nets are trying to figure out, do you show some sincere remorse? Do you show that you are not, anti-Semitic? I mean, what is he going to do? Because, hey, the commissioner, he's a Jewish guy. You know what I mean? But I don't know if the Nets get rid of Kyrie Irving. I don't know if the Nets, go ahead and come out and say he's going to be suspended for 10 games, 8 games, 9 games. I really don't know, because I still think he's a superb talent. But sometimes your mouth can just screw it up. And my thing is, Kyrie Irving is walking down an Antonio Brown road. And if he keeps doing what he does, he will be out of the NBA and no one will want him. Those are just my thoughts about Kyrie.
Guys, real quick on Kyrie, what are your thoughts here? Larry, what would you do if you were the Nets? Joe Tsai came out and said that, he met with Kyrie this week. He doesn't think that he hates, Jewish people or anything like that. I never thought he hated Jewish people. I just thought that he was getting fed information about his heritage, I guess, or something. I'm not sure what we're hearing here. I know what it is. It's A&T coming in. Let me meet them real quick. So your thoughts, Larry?
Well, this is coming from a Jewish guy. So, here it is that, I try to listen to it and, try to analyze what he says. And believe me, I've heard a lot worse in my time. And, the problem here is that we have an issue with people hating people. And the problem with this is we cannot, get rid of racism in any fashion if we continue this. It takes everybody together, liking everybody, and you got to like and dislike people based on their character, not based on their religion, not based on their ethnic background. And I think Kyrie Irving, the problem with him, Desmond, is it's what he said in the location he said it. He plays in the number 1 Jewish population in the United States.
Yeah.
So, and that's where the problem is. Do you, as a Jewish person, want to now go and watch the Brooklyn Nets play knowing that he, said these things? And, I'm different than people. I can blow things off. I've done it all my life. But at the end of the day, I don't think Kyrie Irving gets to play in New Jersey again. It's hard. I think Brooklyn's maybe going ahead and indefinitely suspending him to maybe seek out a trade where he can play in an area where this maybe can calm down a little bit. But at the end of the day, it wasn't right. The only issue I have, I'd love to get your take on it, Desmond. If I remember correctly, wasn't there a Miami Heat guy like Maynard or something not too long ago that was suspended? Yeah. But he was suspended for, I think, a week or a game. They had a definite suspension for him. But he also came out, apologized. Like Thunderberg said, Rod said he didn't really apologize, Irving. He apologized because he was forced to apologize. Right. Maynard apologized, got a definite suspension, and it was over. So now we look at this case, and I can understand different people of ethnic backgrounds and different colors saying, why does Maynard, a white guy, get a 1-week suspension and Irving doesn't? That's where the inconsistency in punishments, don't make sense. And I'm not for what Kyrie said, but if you're going to suspend Maynard for pretty much the same exact thing, shouldn't Kyrie be suspended the same?
It's funny. I kept my Amazon Prime account on. Usually I have it off, except for when I need to watch something. I knew I had to watch that Panthers game to do the podcast on it, so I just left it on. And randomly the other night, I was like, you know what? Let me go try to find this movie and see what this is. Because the thing I hate the most is when people argue about something and they didn't watch the movie or they didn't see what was going on, and they're just kind of arguing from the fringes. And I felt myself getting carried over into that. So I was like, let me go find this movie and actually watch it. Because I felt like I've seen clips of it before. It's been out since 2018. And someone from like the Black Israelite movement or whatever. I was in an argument with on Facebook randomly one day, and they were sending me YouTube clips or whatnot, and I'm like, just get this foolishness out of here. But I tried to find the movie. You have to rent or buy it, and I was like, nope, not doing it. Not spending money on this. Like, this is something I could find on YouTube for free probably if I really tried. So it's one of those like kind of cheaply done documentaries that kind of tries to change history, and it's for those that believe that whatever the truth is what they believe in. And that's what the world has come to now, where it's not about truth. It's about what your belief is, and whatever your belief is the truth. So 2 + 2 can be 5 if you believe it to be 5, like that kind of thing. That's dangerous to me. Like that we've sunk to that point where we're getting to a point where people don't have to believe in the truth, that they have a stronger opinion of something else. And that's kind of where we are, where truth is almost like it doesn't matter.
But real quickly, what Rod said is so true. All Kyrie has to do is shut up. Don't say anything. You have nothing to gain by saying anything about what is this? This is all.
Well, I think he should say something. The problem is Kyrie, when he says stuff, he messes up further. Like
that's why he should shut up.
To Rod's point, yeah,
exactly.
But he does need to say something. He needs to explain himself, and he has not.
No, but before that, why did he say something to begin with? We're not saying now. I think what Rod and I are saying, the whole thing came down. What was it with Kiana or whatever? He should have just shut up. Nobody needs to know what his opinion is in that matter. You don't hear other NBA players saying what their opinion is.
Well, people started pushing for him. He missed media for like a week. Like the Nets kind of kept him away after his first broke. And he got into the argument with the reporter like the day after or whatever, where he was trying to say what you were saying, that he didn't need to really explain anything. And the reporters were like, yes, you do. Like, do you realize what you sent out? And then the Nets kept him away from media for like a week. And then he finally spoke to the media at a practice, and that's when it kind of blew up even further.
Let's not forget Desmond and Rod and Mike. And Jewish people aren't just white. There are many Black Jewish people.
Yeah, right. That is correct.
So he didn't even offend. Let's not make this a Black versus white thing. He offended Black people and white people here, with this comment.
But Black people don't think that way. That's the difference here. And that was kind of the reason why I brought this up, because most of the arguments I got into with folks were Black folks defending Kyrie blindly. Like they didn't even know exactly what he did. They just saw another high profile Black athlete getting quote unquote torn down by the establishment or whatnot. And they didn't even bother to check to see what he did. And across were like, I don't even see what he did wrong. Like that's the issue, where like they didn't even see it as a problem. Like why are you picking on Kyrie? Like, why are you picking on Kanye? That kind of thing. But they're not listening to what they're saying and what their actions are. I'm not even going to touch Kyrie today. Not Kyrie. I'm not going to touch
Kanye.
That's a whole other show. Before we get out of here, though, Mike, real quick, your reaction on Kyrie and everything else. I got Coach Snow and JP waiting in the back.
Yeah, I feel like it's time for the Nets to move on from Kyrie, because this isn't the first instance where Kyrie's done something or said something, and it's honestly getting in the way of his job. If you do something or say something that gets in the way of you doing your job, you need to cut ties and move on with that. And I've questioned Kyrie, and this hurts. This is coming from a Duke fan. I wish he was awesome and I loved him, but I start questioning his love for basketball. And if I'm another team around the NBA, I don't even know if I want to take Kyrie on at this point. As much talent as he has, as much as his talent and skill level can change your organization, he is that kind of player that we hope Victor Wembanyama is. I just don't trust him to play, because there's always something that comes up.
The peak of Kanye, I keep saying Kanye. The peak of Kyrie's career was him hitting that three-pointer in the 2016 NBA Finals when the Cavs came back from 3-1 down and beat the Warriors. If you look at his career from that point on, it's gone, because like every Boston was a disaster. The Nets have been a disaster. He's hardly played. He's had reasons and excuses to not be on the court, random reasons that he finds ways to not play. And it feels like maybe this wasn't it, but it adds to the narrative of what he'd already built in that resume. I was kind of hyping him coming to LA and reuniting with LeBron and trading Westbrook for that in the offseason. I want no parts of this now. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with Kyrie. Maybe he does retire. Maybe he comes back and he's an all-star. Who knows? But we'll get into that.
What you've seen, Desmond, What you've seen it real quickly is a guy, like Mike said, that has the talent to build a team up, but also has the attitude that can bring a team completely down.
I got to get Mike and Larry out of here. Listen to the TGI Friday lineup every Friday, WWBG 1470 AM. Michael Davis, Out of Pocket with Michael Davis, 5 p.m. every week. Larry Frank, Frankly Speaking Sports Carolina, 4 p.m. every week. When we come back in just a bit, one of the franchise players, JP Mundy, joins me and Rod as we talk to our buddy Adrian Snow out in Clemens, see what's happening with him. Nothing big going on. We'll talk to him, chop it up in just a bit here. Listen to the rundown, WWBG 1470 AM and TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com.
You're listening to The Rundown with Desmond Johnson.
Sedgefield Lawn and Landscape Supply is your one-stop shop for your lawn. Family-owned, serving customers residential or commercial. Check out our large selection of mulch, pine needles, sand, gravel, grass seed, fertilizer, herbicides. They even do propane fill-ups. And if you're looking for lawn care equipment, you won't find a better spot in the Triad than Sedgefield Outdoor Equipment. Visit them today, 5111 Mackey Road in Jamestown, North Carolina. Give them a call at 336-292-6800 and follow them on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Twin City Press Catering. Locally owned and operated, Twin City Press Catering will professionally manage and organize your events efficiently. Twin City uses fresh ingredients from local vendors for all types of special and corporate events. Currently taking Thanksgiving catering orders, visit our sister company, Twin City Minis Facebook page for details. Or give us a call at 336-813-8002. Twin City Press Catering in Kernersville.
Hey, Pops, where you want to go eat tonight?
I'm going to go get me some good Southern cooking at Ball Brothers down by the airport in Winston.
No, Pops, it's Bell Brothers, and they closed years ago. It's Taste of the Triad now.
Taste of the Triad? Is it in the old Ball Brothers building?
Yup.
Can I still get baked chicken and collard greens?
Sure can.
How about neck bones, meatloaf, and pork chops?
Taste of the Triad has all that.
So they ain't got pinto beans, tater salad, mac and cheese, or fried okra?
Pops, they have all that, plus homemade cakes and cobblers and sweet potato pie.
Well, then I don't care what they call it. Let's go eat.
Taste of the Triad. Open daily for lunch with $5.99 specials from 11 to 2 and chef specials daily. Don't miss the Saturday brunch from 9 to 1 and the soulful Sunday dinner when you come out of church full of the word, but hungry for Southern comfort food. Taste of the Triad in the old Bell Brothers building at Old Walkertown Road and North Liberty in Winston-Salem.
That's good Southern cooking.
For the best burger sliders in the Triad, look no further than Twin City Minis food truck. This week, come eat, drink, and love sliders at the following venues. This Thursday, Wise Man Brewing from 5 to 9 p.m. This Friday, the Brewer's Kettle, Kernersville, 5 to 9 p.m. Saturday, Riverwalk RV Park on the Yadkin River, 1 to 5 p.m. And Tuesday at Oak Ridge Elementary School, PTO, 5 to 7:30 p.m. Eat, drink, and love sliders. Twin City Minis.
This is Sam Farber, radio play-by-play broadcaster for your Charlotte Hornets, and you're listening to The Rundown with Desmond Johnson on Tobacco Road Sports Radio on WWBG 1470 AM.
Welcome back into the Rundown, WWBG 1470 AM and TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com, live and direct every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. We're a little shorter today, off at 11:30 a.m. to make room for Donald Ware, Al Swan, the handsome one, Billy Covington, the North Carolina A&T pregame show, 11:30 live right here at TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com. That goes into kickoff at 12 noon. A&T looking for their 7th straight win, taking on Charleston Southern. Marching towards the end of the regular season, we got you covered here. Those guys will kick off at 12 noon. A little bit later on at 3 p.m., second round of the West 4A Regional on our Mixler player, East Forsyth versus Mount Tabor CPC rematch there. Rod and Chad Delp will start you off there. I will be there probably around about halftime and bring you home. Got word this week that one of our favorites was stepping down from his position out in Clemens. Our buddy, Coach Adrian Snow. So I had to go grab him. What's up, man? What's going on?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Doing
good.
Had to grab everybody. I went and grabbed JP. Of course, he's been hosting Titans Talk for the past 2 seasons. Went and grabbed
He's probably mad at me.
went and grabbed your adversary, Hot Rod Funderburk from the Nest, the rival talk show that you guys have been doing for the past couple of years. I wanted to ask before I turn it over to these guys here, when did you know? When did you know that you were going to step down this year? Because was there a moment during the season, maybe before the season, where the thought kind of crept in your head? Was this done? Did you decide this when the regular season was over after everything with the playoffs? Or because I kind of caught a vibe from you that maybe you were thinking this throughout the year.
Combination.
You never said or did anything that made me think, oh, yeah, he's going to go. But I don't know, I just kind of caught a vibe from you. When did it happen?
It was a combination of things, to be honest with you. Ultimately, August 6, 2021, when I got sick, that changed my life. And I think it changed it for the better. Put a lot of perspective in my life. People do not understand what high school football coaches go through. The things that they give up, whether it's the time, energy, their health. I mean, literally, I talked to a good friend of mine this morning that just got beat in the playoffs last night. And he said, Coach, my hip is killing me. My knee's killing me. And I've done nothing because it was the grind. And it was the grind of the every day. You got to be 7 days a week. And now it's become 365 days a year. And the crazy thing about it is in North Carolina, they don't get paid very well. And that hurts. And hopefully we can start making moves to get that to change. At least they can be financially backed a little better than what they are.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talent in North Carolina too. We see, SEC comes here and raids all the time, ACC, all these big schools come in here. And you've had kids that have gone off to Clemson and Georgia and all these big top schools across the country, and they come into this area. Talk to me a little bit about what you've seen over the past 15 years here as your coach, this area growing as a fertile ground for high school football talent, because it wasn't like this 15 years ago. There's always been talent here, but especially the past, I don't know, maybe 7-8 years, it feels like there's been a flood of Division I kids playing football at West Forsyth, East Forsyth, Glenn, Reagan, like the whole Central Piedmont Conference basically has had a taste of it. Give me your thoughts on that and how the region's changed from when you first started at West to as you leave it now.
Yeah, I think it's the great thing about it. It's we really are known for linemen. That's kind of that in the coaching world outside. I mean, the college coaching world, we're known for this is kind of a hotbed for offensive and defensive linemen, especially defensive linemen. So that's why you get the Floridas that are going to come in here. That's why you get the Georgias, the Alabamas. They're going to come in and try to pluck those kids out. And so it has definitely grown. But a lot of it, again, it goes back to you got to have talent. There's no doubt about it, but you got great coaching. There's great coaching in this area. They're great people. They do a great job, and they care about their kids. And they work extremely, extremely hard. And like I said, I have the utmost respect for all of them. To be honest with you, I've had multiple talks with them, and they're all congratulating me, and they're all kind of – there's a part of them going, man, I wish I could step away. I mean, because you just get into this – you get in it, man, and it's like it's a drug, and you just keep on and you keep on, and it takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on your family, toll on your a lot of things.
Yeah, I hear the stories from high school coaches where you're at school at 7:30 in the morning, you don't leave till 8 o'clock at night. It's all just it's a second extended family, and you got to kind of be the dad for that family. JP, let me start off with you, man. I'm sure you've got questions. You've been sitting beside the man every Monday night in Clemens doing Titans talk all season this year.
It never said a word.
It never said a word.
Never said a word.
But I'll open the floor to you.
Number one, I'm not mad at you, Coach. I'm not mad at you. I understand, and like Desmond, I had a feeling we've talked more than once about let's say lack of support outside of the school, and we're about the time we put in, and we talk about the volunteer coaches in the summer doing the summer workouts, and I gave you for free, and I gave you 16 minutes in our last show to talk about that. And spoiler alert, franchise players listeners are going to hear a little bit of that this week. Because I think it's appropriate, because my problem with, first of all, congratulations, because I was unable, I had a job that I loved but I knew it was time to step away, and I wouldn't one time. And eventually I stayed too long, and they did it for me. So I admire anybody that can go out like that and can be honest with themselves. The thing that scares me is the fact that this area is so rich with great coaches who put the kids first, who understand that high school football is, if it's not the biggest, it's one of the biggest dropout deterrents in public schools. Their coaching staffs perform a great service to the kids and to the community. And my worry is how do we change it so we don't lose a few more Adrian Snows? And I know you were a changed man when you came back after your COVID bit, but this thing with not supporting our coaches and not only paying them 9-10 months out of the year and having them work for free at some point has to stop. Don't you think so, Coach?
Yeah, I think the great thing is, and I won't tell you who I'm going to meet with, but I have, in my dealings with it, I have called and I've asked to speak to some higher ups. At this point, I don't have any skin in the game, okay? But I do. And what I mean by that is I want to try to help leave it better than we found it. And I think knowledge is power. And I think the problem is I don't think they understand the whole magnitude of it. They don't understand that we work 4 days out of the week in the summer, and then our coaches come and they work for free. Nobody works for free anymore. I mean, nobody. And we're not asking for millions of dollars. Nobody wants that. But what we do want is to be able to say, hey, here is this, and we appreciate you, and we go from there. And I think that's the biggest thing. And the problem is we've got a lot of people around us that are doing it totally different at times, and I think we can be better. Well, I know we can. And like I said, I want to help with the change. And like I said, right now it's not going to benefit me, so I have no benefit in it. But then again, I want them to understand what these guys go through. Listen to this. This is the truth. At the end of the game against East Forsyth, I'm hugging one of my kids, and he's had some struggles. And he said, Coach, if it wasn't for high school football, I'm going to be in the streets, and it's not going to end well. They're going to be a part of something. And if we make it to where they don't want to be a part of this, then they're going to go be a part of something. And that something ain't good. It ain't going to be good. So what we got to do is we got to do a good job of getting our people, our coaches, in line and helping them take care of these kids. Because I'm telling you, somebody else will take care of them, and those people we don't want to take care of them.
That's a great point, Coach.
Do you want them around? Do you want them around Todd Willard, Antoine Stevenson, Josh McGee, Tyshawn Brown, Adrian, or do you want them around those other guys? And you got to be careful.
Rod, I'm sure you got a question for Coach Snow. You guys have been picking at each other 3 years now.
Yeah.
But people don't understand. People don't understand from the outside in. Like this is a bit of a fraternity with all of us. Like we all joke and laugh with each other, and we poke fun at each other's teams and everything else. But at the end of the day, for me in particular, it's about these kids. Like the reason why I started Tobacco Road was to spotlight these kids, because there was no platform out there in the Triad that was doing what I wanted to do in terms of spotlighting them. And I feel like guys like Coach Snow have allowed Tobacco Road to come into his program and allowed us to help spotlight the kids he wanted to spotlight. These coaches, Coach Willard, Coach Snow, they pick the kids that are going to be on these shows each week. It's not us asking him for the kids. They choose these kids, and typically they pick the kids that are getting good grades, that are leaders, that are that deserve to be on these shows. So Rod, you being the host of The Nest for the past 4 years, and the back and forth we've all had with West Forsyth and Coach Snow and everything, your thoughts here? Question for Coach Snow, stepping down after 15 years.
First of all, Coach Snow, I want to say congratulations to you. You had a heck of a career. I mean, you have pretty much built that West Forsyth program, which has been the nemesis for East Forsyth. As I've always said, whenever you two teams get together, you can throw the records out the window because it does not matter. And, you building that program, doing so much for it, putting all that sweat equity into it. I hear where you're coming from, and I completely understand. And I don't even want to getting back into, what needs to be improved, what needs to be changed. You just mentioned a huge point of that. But as you reflect on those 15 years, I'd love to know, what are some of those high points that you think about and you say, wow, that is one of those situations and circumstances that's going to make it really hard for me to leave. Wow, I don't want to go. I know I have to go. But as I reflect back, this is something that happened that I'm always going to remember. Do you have any high points that you'd like to share in that area?
First of all, I appreciate our friendship. Let's talk about that. Second of all, you used the word that I don't like. And what I mean by don't like, you use you. It was definitely not about me. There were so many people that basically helped make it better. And that's all we were trying to do, was make it better. So when I did resign, I made sure it was all about us and it was all about we, because I'm not a big I love to talk. Don't get me wrong. Y'all know that.
Oh,
I love to talk, but I don't like to talk about myself. And like Desmond was like, Snow, you're going to have to get this going. Like, you got to talk to people about it coming on your show. And I'm going, but I don't want it to be my show. I want it to be our show. But some of the highlights, first of all, anybody that says it's any different don't really understand. Coaching is really about one thing. Somebody says, oh, wins and losses. Nope, it's not about that. It is ultimately about the relationships. It's about relationships. It's about relationships with young men, coaches, community. It's about relationships. What football can do for you and can do for our communities is amazing. It galvanizes. It brings us together. And we sit and talk. I listened to you guys just a minute ago talking about the whole Kyrie Irving mess. We want it to be a situation where we can galvanize people. I look at Todd and the championships they've won, and it's awesome. But one of the biggest things about the championship, everybody talks about the ring, but ultimately the best thing about that is how it galvanizes a community and how it brings them together. And nobody cares. Nobody cares who you voted for. Nobody cares about who you pull for. Do you pull for the Nets, or do you pull for? They don't care about that. They're just wanting to show up, and they're going to watch a game, and man, they're going to pull for each other. That's what's awesome about it. And so ultimately it's about that. I ain't gonna lie. If you talk about that, if you talk about great times, I've been so blessed that I've had a situation to be able to be a part of some of the great people. And I hate to mention names, but I'll mention them. And then I'm going to forget people. I'm walking in to resign at 3:15 in front of the kids, and I'm making phone calls to people that I'd forgot. Not that I forgot, but I'm calling a lot of people and thanking them. But, when you get to coach the likes of KJ Henry, you get to coach the likes of Jaquan McMillan, you get to coach the likes of Jalen Dalton, Quentin Brinkley. I mean, these are people that, golly, I've called parents and thanked them. Jared Wilson's mom, I texted her the other day and told her I cannot thank her enough for allowing us to be a part of their lives. And she did, and she did it willingly, and I appreciated that. And all of them, it's been nothing but a blessing. And my time is over, and I've turned the page, and I'm excited about my next chapter. And I'm still going to be involved in football, and I'm going to still be involved around here. And I'm not leaving to go coach another team. Maybe y'all can let me be on some shows or something, and I'll come in.
We're gonna
chop it up, and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I might be in a truck going somewhere, but I'm all in.
Go ahead, JP, real quick.
Oh no, well, first of all, I got dibs on Coach Snow as my color analyst for next season.
I only want the good games now. Don't be giving the bad games.
You know us. We
want the big
good games on there. Yeah.
Hey,
we don't bother with the
just
small
so y'all know, I've already been invited. I was supposed to be at the game today at 3:00 on another show, but I had to turn down because Mama said we're going to the mountains. So guess what that means?
And
that means you're going to the mountains. You're going to have some fun, Coach. Fun.
Let me just say real quick. Well, go ahead, JP, and then I
just wanted to thank Coach Snow. I'd never done a coach's show before. When I came in last year, and you were in the hospital actually still when I started, and I wanted to say
so you were the cause of it.
No, we'll blame it on Macintosh like we always do.
Yeah,
there you go.
But what I love best about Titans Talk with Coach Snow was the fact that we didn't talk. He does not like to talk about himself, and we did not talk football very, very much at all. We would just go into something else, and we'd quickly review a game, and then I'd let him say what he always said about every opponent coming up. They're real physical, real well coached, and we're going to have a tough time. We'll have to play West Forsyth football. And that he said it for 2 straight years, and I appreciated that. And that's what you're supposed to do. But my favorite memory happened this year because he's brought so many great kids. When he invited the entire offensive line a few weeks ago to Titans Talk.
And we fed them.
And we fed them, and we had to. And
that's why Mossy's isn't calling me back right now. That's
yeah. We had a booster call in and help pay for some of that. That's what he was talking about with the community.
Nice.
And it was so great to have all these kinds of kids out there, kids that didn't necessarily play, and they were out there, and we gave them mic time and gave them time to, if they weren't great at football, Hank Ballard, who's a good kid. When Ballard showed up, the first thing Coach Snow said, "This is a kid that's going to make more money than all of us combined."
Unbelievable.
And there's a lot of
young that I've ever been around.
There's a lot of coaches around, around the country who I'm sure who know the names of all their star players, are invested in the players that need to perform of them. And Coach Snow knows the limitations of every player on his roster and knows the bright spots on every player on his roster. And it made everything so much more fun. And I just appreciate all the fun we've had over the last 2 years.
Let me say this real quick. We ran a little long, but that's okay for this. Me and Coach Snow, we started talking about doing some things when really before Tobacco Road started. I had just been let go from WSJS. It was 2019. So it was the end of 2019. Then COVID happened right after that, March of 2020. So there was no sports for a little while. And during that stretch, going into what would become the spring 2021 season, me and Coach Snow started talking back and forth about maybe doing some West Forsyth games, because I was looking at doing some live sports in the area. And Tobacco Road hadn't really been formulated. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but it wasn't Tobacco Road yet. We were doing the Nest. We had been doing that already with Coach Willard at East, and a little bit of live stuff here and there, and that was really it. But after talking to him and realizing, okay, this dude is cut from the same cloth as Coach Willard and some of these other coaches I deal with, and he gets it. Like the whole platform is, it's not to push him, it's to push his kids, it's to push his program and his community, and to get that out there, because there wasn't anything hyper local in the area. It was all regional or even above that. And even then, like, I'm sitting there watching TV and the Panthers were just on prime time and they get 2 minutes or 2 seconds of coverage or whatever, which is fine. They're 3-7. But still, it's the principle of that. There's just not, that coverage just isn't there. And that's what I wanted to provide. And Coach Snow, you really stepped up in terms of, you never once wanted Titans Talk to be like the Nest. Like, that was never your goal. Like, you never went into it like, how can we get it to here? What can we do to do this? What can we do to match it? Because you guys are different. It's 2 different types of things going on. Yep. And the community was really supporting West Forsyth, as they have for decades, since me and Rob were in high school here. And I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me and our guys at Tobacco Road to build a relationship with West Forsyth, where I feel like, now with you leaving, I know you'll still be around, you're still gonna be involved, but I feel like because of what you did to help us get in, we can move forward with whoever's going to take over the program next year. You got to promise me you're going to do that, because that's one of the things. I don't want it to be like, oh, well, Snow's gone now, we're not going to do it. I've never told it publicly yet, but I signed my contract yesterday, so I can tell you where I'm going. I couldn't do it up into. I'm going to be the Rydell rep for basically all of this area. Yeah. So basically,
nice.
So basically, I'm going to be in charge of from around the mountains of North Carolina to right at Chapel Hill. So I signed a contract yesterday.
Yeah, the Lou position.
I'm gonna be the better looking Lou. I'm gonna be the better looking Lou. So it enables me.
Yeah, congratulations.
So I'm excited about it. They're gonna pay me to go around and talk to football coaches.
That's the dream.
You're living the dream.
You're living the dream. You asked us that when we came down to say hey to you last week before the West Forsyth playoff game, And me and Rod both comment when we got back to the press box, like, what did he say to you? I was like, you living the dream. He's like, that's what he said to me. And I was like, that's kind of his line. That's his thing. But where else would you rather be right now? And for you to get that man, that's perfect, man. I totally get it.
Perfect.
And now I can help people. I want to be able to go to Parkland or Carver or to East Forsyth or to Glenn. It doesn't matter. And I want to be that guy that basically says, all right, Snow, can you help us do this? Or can we pull this off? Can we do this? And I've already had coaches text me and say, listen, can you come sit down with me and talk to me about some of the things you do, how you raise money, how you do it? Yeah, now I can tell you everything. I don't care. Because I want what's best for them. So I'm excited about it. My dad's in poor health. And so I'm his only. So when he needs to go to the doctor, I can take him to the doctor. I ain't got to get somebody to film a class or whatnot. And so I'm excited about it, and it's going to be a great opportunity. And I'm gonna still be around, man. I'm gonna be on the sidelines watching somebody. They told me I could coach if I wanted to. I couldn't be a head coach, but right now I ain't worried about that. I'm ready to go around and see everybody.
Enjoy it. Smell the flowers, and taking the flowers that everybody's going to be giving you in the next week or so, because you definitely deserve it, Coach. One of the best to do it here in the Triad. Coach Adrian Snow, former head coach at West Forsyth. I'm not even going to ask you who's.
Don't say that, man. That hurts me.
I know it didn't feel right when I said it.
That's not good.
Now, Des, that was going to be my next question. I was
go ahead and
go
ask
there.
it.
Well, Coach Snow, listen. You done said you're going to be around. You helped put your fingerprint on the West Forsyth program. Yep. You want things to continue on. You want West Forsyth to be the best in the land. I don't blame you. So, Coach Snow, are you going to be involved in the hiring process of the next coach? And if you are, what direction do you think and feel that the West Forsyth Titans should go in?
Yeah. So here's what I would tell you. When I talked to Kevin Spainhour, who is an unbelievably athletic-minded principal, he gets it. He's been there. He's done that. My exact comment here, I will do anything I can to help you. And one of my things is I'm going to drum up business. 2, I have told him he has got to hire someone a whole lot better than this big old fat guy. And I said, that is the thing that you got to do. And
that's going to be a hard task, Coach. That's going to be a very hard task.
Well, I hope and pray that they will, because the kids deserve it. I think it was a little bit of God's plan. God's plan. I got up Thursday morning, had a devotion, and literally God spoke to me and told me it was okay. And the devotion ended it by saying, it's okay. And literally, I got there and I talked to Kevin again Thursday, and I said, you got to promise me you're going to go get the best you can get. And he said he would do that. In our county, it's got to be a good fit, because we all know how our county is. Our county's different than a lot of counties. Right. And you got to be ready. And if you're not, it's a different bird. You got to be ready.
I'm going to throw 2 names out there.
No.
Can I do that? Can I throw 2 names out
there?
No. You throw all the names you want out there.
All right, go ahead.
This is who I would look at if I was West Forsyth. And I would look within first, because you can't just throw away. This is the argument that me and JP were having last year about hiring Hubert Davis at Carolina. My argument was that you have to respect the culture, like what's been there. Like if you bring in someone from outside or someone who's been gone for a while, you run the risk of losing the culture. The Panthers just went through this with Matt Rule. I want to see Lawrence Ferguson. I want to see Ferguson. I don't know what his intent is to be a head coach or whatever, but I know he's there. I know he's on staff. And John McIntosh, who took over and was a co-head coach while you were in the hospital last year and did a pretty good job, and actually was doing the coaches shows with us at the beginning of the year. I think those 2 guys are in positions where maybe they might be able to have a look at. I know them both. I feel like either one of them would be a great choice for West Forsyth. But again, I don't work for West Forsyth, and I have no idea what they're going to do going forward with that. But I wanted that on record. Put that out there.
Here's what's great. Here's what's great about this area. That there's probably coaches from about 4 or 5 staffs across the county, including West Forsyth, that understand kids first and grab a broom. And grab a broom is a Coach Snowism. And I think that Kevin Spainhour is going to have his pick, and he's going to be able to fulfill Coach Snow's wish of finding a very good coach who can take it to the next level. I just think there's so many good coaches around there. There's a couple of them that'll make your boy Todd Willard a little bit scared. if he hears names, but shout out Kevin Wallace. But anyway,
what just happened?
No, never mind. I just like to do that. To
he's listening, by the way. I just talked to him. He's checking in the conversation. So,
hey, coach, they're going to run the ball tonight. Anyway,
the great thing about it, Kevin's going to do a good job. Now, we've talked about it a long time, and I first let him in on it about a month ago and said, hey, there's a potential this is going to happen. And then literally, I had a list. I gave him a list and said, these are the people that I would look at. The thing that you're going to run into, hiring a football coach is entirely different than hiring any other coach you got.
Yep.
Because it's a major deal in the school. But football coaches are very, very notorious for not saying yes. They're going to say, if you do these things, then yes. Because you cannot just, we ain't just like good husbands. We're good husbands, most of us. But when it comes to this situation where you have to say yes, in those situations, you have to say, hey, I'll do it if you do this, 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 and this. And because you got to be able to make it better. And there's things that need to be done, whether it's everywhere. And that'll be interesting to see how it works. Kevin, Mike Pennington will do a unbelievable job.
Yeah.
I told the kids, I promise you, they ain't gonna be no bigger cheerleader than Adrian Snow. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I gotta take advantage of this because we were supposed to end like 10 minutes ago, but I'm letting it run.
Whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna.
You own the place. You own.
Yeah, we're just gonna stay right here. I'm just gonna change the rest of the show around for this. But I gotta ask you this because I know you played him earlier this year. So me, Rod, and Chad Delp were listening to the AC Reynolds versus Chambers game on the radio last night on the phone.
I watched it.
Did you? Yeah. See, I don't have an FHS subscription, so I'm like, no, I don't want to.
I'll give you my log. I'll give you my log.
Yeah. Appreciate that. But no, first of all, shout out to the radio team up in Asheville that was doing the game. Rod, I don't know what your opinion was of it, but I started listening to it, coming in with a certain opinion because they don't have as many down here that do it like us. And I started listening to them. And I'm like, yo, Macomb County, they got it going on up here. Like this sounds legit. Like, I mean, it was a top-notch high school football broadcast. So shout out to them to start off. AC Reynolds won 16-14, beat Chambers. Chambers, they've been in the state championship the past 4 years. They've won 2, lost 2. They lost last year to Cardinal Gibbons in a monsoon in the rain. How good is that AC Reynolds team? From
unbelievable on defense.
Okay, because that's the vibe I'm getting from online that they got one of the best.
They're strong.
Okay,
they're strong. They just got some really good pieces, and they got a defensive lineman that is amazing. Plays his hind end off. I mean, he's good. They got an outside linebacker that's talented that I think, and then they got a safety. I think 2 of their defensive players, Coach Willett and them, chose for the Shrine Bowl, which good picks. The problem was they probably could have took a third, and they can't take but 2. So they're all really, really strong. I watched the game. Supposedly there were some before the game shenanigans, and I think got everybody a little stirred up, and got some people stirred up, and then I think at the end of the game, I saw that kid kick that big field goal. It's about a 42-yard field goal.
To
go ahead. To go ahead. And Shane Laws is one of the good guys. He really is. I went to college with him. Think a lot of him and his wife, Katie. I know them. We go way back like Cadillac seats. Now I'm telling you, and he is awesome, and he does a really, really good job. And I'm telling you, they're strong on defense. And they got to play Butler next week. I'm telling you, Butler have a tough time scoring. They're just being honest with you.
Dude, the 4A West is ridiculous. I don't remember a region stacked like this as it is this year. If you had to pick a squad coming out of this 4A West right now, who would you pick? Because there's a handful that you could probably pick that could.
Well, I don't want to put pressure on them. Let's just say that I don't want to put pressure on them. But there's one team we played that's pretty dang good. They're really, really talented. They're well coached, and they do a really, really good job. So I'll keep it at that. Let's see how it goes today for him. He's got a good bunch, but they're going up against a good bunch too. So it's one of those things. But it's going to be interesting. And right now, man, you're in the second round. People are fighting, scratching, calling to see if they can keep hanging on. So you never know what you're going to get.
With this round, it's like you're going to start seeing like the ones that were floating at the top of these polls kind of emerge like after this round. There's only going to be 12 or whatever left, 16 left after this. So I mean, it's gonna start getting hard. JP, you got a question?
Yeah, I was going to say this, to piggyback on what Coach Snow said about Asheville Reynolds. The kids were in week 8 still talking about how hard the Reynolds defense hit.
Yeah,
they were different. I would ask that, because I'd have them on. I'd be like, who's the most physical team? And everybody, all the kids were like, it's the team from the very first game. And I was like, man, I've never heard that before. Usually your competition gets more fierce and everything like that. Like I said, it's week 8, but those guys were physical.
And I ain't gonna take you. East has got a great defense.
Oh
They're
yeah,
really good too.
And this is before East.
Tabor does. So I mean, so Tabor's really good on defense too. I mean, so like I said, we've got some talented players, talented coaches that do a good job and kind of know what's going on, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
That's what just makes it fun.
I gotta say, I already started. I was already on my stuff this morning. I got on Facebook and called out the Chambers folks because they've been calling me out all year in this high school football talk group, because they know who I am. They know who I call for. They know what I do up here. And I've told them, it's like, yeah, I went to East Forsyth. That's the home team. But anybody that if you ask somebody up here that's involved with high school football, they will tell you that I rep the whole 336. It's not just East Forsyth.
Yeah,
I'm here for everybody. With West Forsyth, Grimsley, whoever's.
Well, let's be honest with you. People don't understand. When you take Charlotte, the size of Charlotte and the number of schools, if you literally take Winston-Salem and Greensboro, it's probably about the same. I'm not saying we might be a little bit better, but in the sense of school-wise, and both of those areas, they do a really good job, man. I mean, they do a good job, and they're well coached, and they got really good players, and it's a good thing, to be honest with you. So it's cool for our area. I'm with you. I love the 336. Good people.
I love it because the 704, they beat their chest so hard on like high school football. And they've been doing this for 30 plus years. Like it was like this in '92 when we were in high school, and it was like the stigma of the Triad can't beat Charlotte schools, or the Mountains can't do it, or the Triangle or whatever. That like Charlotte invented football. It's like it's this weird thing. And
here's what I say. During our time, I got that all the time. Can't beat Charlotte schools. Guess what? During our time. We beat Vance at the time. It was Vance. Now it's Chambers. We beat them. We beat Myers Park. We beat we beat Mooresville at the time, and you count them from down in that area. There were we beat all those teams at the time. Now we did lose to some of the elite teams in the state that were from Charlotte. Nothing wrong with that, and that did. And I rock on. And it was we lost to Chambers in 2019. Probably one of the best teams we had. And we lost to them. And they had a blame good team. I mean, they had 2 inside linebackers, Division I inside linebackers, a Division I safety, Division I defensive end, a Division I running back. We're talking about Power 5 kids. We're talking about Power 5 kids. And they did some good things. They're well coached too. So I ain't taking nothing away from them either.
Hey, guess who's texting me already? I mean, you got a playoff game today, but no, we're going to listen to the rundown and see what Snow says. I'm already getting from Lord Vader.
Well, that's the way it is.
Fun. I mean,
man, it's good. Listen, I'll tell you this. Before I resigned, I called a couple people in the area. I couldn't call them all, but I called Todd and I called Josh, talked to both of them, and said, all right, tomorrow it's going to happen. I need you to keep it under wraps about 3:15. At that point, we'll go from there, because I wanted the kids to know. But I didn't want it to be one of those things where bam, I was trying to do the best. I probably should have called you, JP. I apologize. That was wrong on my part. I'll take you out to lunch one day.
You're fine, man.
But you're gonna have to buy them.
I spoke to Joe Serrera on the phone like 8:30 in the morning on Friday for like 30 minutes. We were going through like scenarios of what might happen with the football games in the Storm, and not once did this dude tell me that he was sitting on this.
So let me tell you what. So they were going to hold it from him until Thursday. Well, and they were Mike and Kevin were awesome during the whole process. They let me kind of navigate it and try to do best. I said, I called Mark Pruitt. From Clemens Curry, and I said, Mark, there's one person I would love to write my article to beat when I'm done. He's no longer with us. God rest his soul, Mason Linker. He would have been my guy. And I said, so the second person is going to be Mark Pruitt. So can you do it? And he said, yeah, I'll be all in. And so I talked to him Wednesday, and as soon as I hung up, I called Pennington back and I said, listen, we got to call Joe. We can't just throw it on him on a Thursday where they're having all this junk going around with when the game's going to play, when the game's not going to get played. And so I called Joe and I said, Joe, I need you to keep it on your hat. He 100% promised me he would, which guess what I did? I 100% knew that he would. And so he knew about it. He knew about Wednesday. I called, I think about Wednesday at 6. So shout out to Joe. Good job, Joe, holding it under.
I mean, he was solid as a rock. Like I messaged him back later in the day after it broke, and I'm like, bro, we spoke for like half an hour. You couldn't mention this at all that this was coming. He was like, I was sworn to
He didn't even tell you there's some big news coming down.
No, nothing.
No, nothing.
No, nothing. He was just like, I was sworn to secrecy. Couldn't say anything.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Any final words from you guys? Because
yeah, I got one last question for Coach.
Before we even say final words, I don't know how long I have both of you. How long do I have you guys? Because I was going to run the Bleav in Panther podcast here, and if you guys can go another 10 minutes or so, because that's pretty easy with Coach Snow, we can just stay right here, and we'll leave rundown like this.
Yeah, I mean, I can go another 10 minutes. I only got to get some more mix. I got to bake some cookies today. I was sworn to bake some cookies.
I'm good for 10 minutes.
Okay. All right, let's go. Go ahead.
All right, so Coach Snow, look, I thought we were getting out of here, but since we're not getting out of here, I got a question.
Let's keep it rolling.
A little change of pace question. You know what I mean? Yep. You're working 7 days a week, 360 days a year. You have now resigned, Coach. Your first trip, you're going to get out of here today. You're going to hang out, spend some time with the wife in the mountains. Coach, what is the next big trip you're going to be going on? And can I go with you?
So I'm gonna tell you, my wife don't even officially know it yet, but you know, we have some great friends. We have some great friends. Let me get a little bit part of this story and I'll finish it up. So we have some great friends. They're the Davis family in Watauga County. Their son was hurt in a game that I coached in back literally 15. Well, I've been away 15 years. It was 17 years ago. And literally they almost started, their family at the time were just acquaintances. Now they have become my family and I'm their family. So we're going to their home. They live right under Grandfather Mountain. It's one of the prettiest places you could ever go. So we're going to go up there. The funny story on that was it wasn't really funny, but when their son was hurt, Rydell at the time, me and Flo Davis at the time, we flew to Elyria, Ohio to go look into the plant at Rydell and what goes into a helmet. And it was almost one of those things where I was like, man, this is awesome. And that was kind of like me at my start of, hey, this is something I would enjoy doing when I'm done. But I have a cousin that owns a charter fishing boat out of Carolina Beach. And I fish every year with him. And he always goes, he rents a home in Almirada all February and all of March. And I've never been able to go. And I'm going to go to Almirada and probably, I don't know exactly when the date I'll go, but I'll go down. And he told me all I got to do is get there. And we're going to fish every day. We're going to go to the Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream from Almirada is like 10 minutes. We're going to go catch some tuna and fish and enjoy it. Coach,
you're going to love hitting that Gulf Stream. When you hit that Gulf Stream, man, you're going to bring back fish. You're going to bring back some mahi. Oh, man. Coach, you're going to have a ball out there.
Makes you want to smack your mama eating that
stuff. Let me ask you this question in terms of biggest rivals. Let's leave East out of it. Take East out of the equation here. Who was the team that you got up the most for as the coach for West Forsyth for the past 15 years?
It's got to be. Yeah, the problem is West Forsyth was hated by a lot of people. So it basically, like, you had the Davies of the world. You had when North Davidson was in the league, that was a big deal. Tabor was a big deal. When I got to West, Tabor at the time they were smacking West Forsyth around now. I mean, it was on. And it was a good thing. And then, it was a good thing for them, not for us. But that was a big one. But I think probably when it really, the day that Josh McGee left us and he went to Reagan, it changed a lot of things. And me and him, I did everything I could to try to help him get that job because I knew that's what he wanted. Even though deep down in my heart and my mind, I knew kind of how the county lays, it would affect us in a relationship because of just the way it is. You want to win, but you got to win because then the people are going to decide, do they want to come to school at your place? That just adds a caveat to it. We always handled ourselves well with that. And there were a few times where I would basically have to call him or he'd have to call me and say, all right, here's what happened. Or this coach just said this or that. But I think the Reagan thing was a big deal for us because of the proximity. They split off from West Forsyth to make them, so that was a big deal for us. I always loved going against North Davidson when Mark Holcomb was there. Me and him talked for probably 30, 45 minutes last night. He's a great guy. So that's a big one too. But so it's tough to pinpoint exactly one. East was a good one just because of how it started. It started in the rain. And when it started in the rain, and we ain't gonna talk about what's going on over the last couple of days, but I'm a purist. I'm one of those guys that if it rains, we're gonna play. And everybody says, no, you're not. No, we're gonna play. There were times literally we would be playing. I remember a time against Tabor, they want us to cancel the game. And it was at our place and we weren't gonna cancel. And everybody was like, you gotta cancel. There's like these watches. No, we're not gonna cancel. Well, then we get out there and the dead blame lightning strikes. Well, then, yeah, we got to cancel then, all right? But we were going to play. Like the media people were calling me going, what are you doing? And I'm having to hang up on them. And then it was nuts. But like it was not, I was trying to get over on anybody. And everybody will say that's what I was trying to do. At Watauga, still to this day, there are people there that hate me. For 1 year, we played McDowell in a monsoon. And it was homecoming. And the principal came to me and she said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to play football. I think it's what we're supposed to do. And we ended up getting beat that night. And it probably hurt us, but that's just who I was. And I'm a mutter.
Look, I'm the same way. Like when this all started, I was just like, it's just rain. Like I get it. The fans might not have a fun experience or whatever. If it's not lightning outside and it's not like 60-mile-per-hour winds, these kids aren't going to melt. They're not made out of sugar. Put them out there and play football. They're going to have the time of their life playing in the rain. Like that's I now have limited experience playing, like Pop Warner or whatever. But the funnest games were playing in the rain because there's an added practice.
Best practice we had all year this year. All year was the Monday of the East Forsyth playoff game. It was pouring on that Monday, pouring, and the kids were like, "What are we doing, Coach?" I said, "We're heading out." And we went to the game field because it was raining. I wasn't sure about the lightning piece, but it didn't. I went and cranked the music up, and our kids rolled out of there. Man, you thought I'd give them $1 million to run around in the rain. Most of them are sitting around doing this all day. Yeah. And man, it's like
they're going to remember that forever. They're going to have that memory forever of practicing with their guys in the rain. Like it. And it's weird to me how these teams have everyone's maneuvered to kind of avoid rain or whatnot. And I get,
it's the financial piece is a big deal.
Yeah, and I know in the playoffs they share the gate and everything. So to me, it made sense to move it off of Friday because it was here. It was raining.
Potentially going to be crazy. Yeah.
I was over at East setting up for them yesterday at I think it was 4:30. I'm at Plaster over there at the press box. And as soon as I got there, the bottom just let out of the sky and it rained for about 20 minutes. And then it stopped. But we were sitting there looking out at the field and I was just like, yeah, you got a lot of standing water all over the place. He's like, yeah, that's why I don't want to play today. It's going to tear up my field. To give me the morning to get this field right, and we can go on Saturday. So I get why they moved that game to Saturday. Others
didn't some others I think didn't Guilford County make didn't a county and do a policy where they could? Because I have some connections at Watauga, and they had texted me and said, hey, they're not going to play because Guilford County is not going to let them play. Was that
I don't know. I'm not sure, but because Watauga and Northwest are playing today, right? Aren't they playing?
Yeah, which is great. I am going to go to that game, which is great. It's hilarious. I know both of the head coaches very well. One of my best friends on the staff at Watauga, and last night, Wallace texted me, just congratulate me this and that, and I texted him. It has been the funniest thing. Both head coaches have called me this week to talk about things that they're going to do to each other. And I basically had to just sit there and go, oh, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Because what am I going to say? Oh, he said.
That's not what they think's going to happen.
No, I would never do it. Never do that to them. I respect the heck out of both those dudes. And I would just sit there and go, yeah, that sounds good. And I'm going, well, I just heard what he's going to do. And I heard what he's going to do. So it's kind of like, I don't know, just in the middle of it.
How good is Watauga? Because I know they're a high seed. What are they, the 2 seed? I think
3 seed.
So a couple of things with Watauga that you got to understand. First of all, when I was there, you had to get people on the mountain. You had to win to get them on the mountain because on the mountain was a neutralizer. because we would literally, I could control the heat in the locker room. The opposing team, and we would turn the heat up, and then we would have like outside of their locker room, we'd have like the weather vane, like so they'd walk out of the locker room and it'd be like 25 degrees outside, and the wind's blowing 100 miles an hour. The hawks out, baby, it's rolling, and you had to get them on the mountain. We beat Page in the playoff game up there one year, and no way in God's green earth we should have beat them. No way. But we brought them up there. It was cold. They didn't want to be cold, and they wanted to get back in that locker room where it was warm. So you had to get them. You had to get them on the mountain. So they're good. The guy that coaches there, he's the best coach that's ever been at Watauga history. He does a heck of a job, and he's a really, really good person, and he cares about kids and works his tail off. And they got a blue collar mentality, hardworking. So it'll be interesting. I think there'll be a bunch of points scored.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about this Grimsley Charlotte Catholic game at 6:00 tonight? Because that's an interesting game. We were going to broadcast it, but we got so much stuff going on tonight that we couldn't do all of it.
I think it might be a shootout.
Yeah.
If I was saying, because I think the problem that Catholic brings to you that nobody else brings to you is what they do. You know, we're all creatures of habit. So all right, we're going to be in the spread and we're going to run with this and the H-back. And each year you're going to go back and you're going to go, all right, well, this is what they're doing. Catholic is going to be wing T, and they've got a quarterback that's really talented. They've got a big tight end, and they're going to hit you on the first play and you're going to go, man. And then that second play, they're going to hit you again and you're going to go, I think that's blood. And then it's like, and then all of a sudden you go, this dude keeps just pounding me in the nose. And then here they go, baby. They just keep rocking you. And then you kind of got to decide, are you going to man up and make it happen? Or are you going to kind of give up the ghost? And I think from what I've been told, Catholic defensively, maybe not as good as they're not as good as they are on offense. So I think from what I've seen, I've heard from the Grimsley, how that is, it might be fun to watch because I think you're going to see two different types of football. Yeah. But I think both of those two types could be really good, and it could be good. Both of them are great men. Coach Broadwitz at Catholic, we scrimmaged them forever back in the day. Mike's does a good job, and we all know how good Grimsley's been, and Daryl's done a heck of a job there too. So I mean, it's that's what's fun about this time of year, man. You know, that's fun about it.
Guys, any final questions for Coach Snow while we got him here on the panel here as we wrap up?
As you know, all you gotta do is get me started, man. Like, wind me up.
That was my hope. That was actually my hope. So this exclusive interview with head coach Adrian Snow, former head coach at West Forsyth. I'm still trying to get used to that. I'm trying to say it more so I can get used to it.
Quit saying it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
15-year head coach, one of the top coaches in the Central Piedmont Conference, helped make the Central Piedmont Conference what we all refer to it today, SEC Triad. Guys, any questions or anything else you want to say to Coach before we get you guys out of here?
Coach, I just want to tell you congratulations, and it has been a pleasure meeting you, getting to know you, and I'm hoping as your future continues to go forward and get better, that our relationship will continue to grow. And don't disappear, Coach. Make sure we get to see you around, my man.
If you know me, I'm not a big disappearer. I'll stand around and talk forever and go through everything. I'm excited about the next chapter, and hopefully that with my connection with Rydell, that I can do some things to help the community and make it better athletically, equipment-wise. I'm excited about that opportunity. I think it could be cool, and hopefully be a liaison between the two. And man, it'd be fun. But like I said, now it's cool. I just get to come to games and sit back and go, why are they doing that?
Yeah, awesome.
I'm extending an invite to Coach Snow to come to the Nest. If we get all the way to December, which is mine and Rod's plan, if we can make it to December, I want to extend an invite to you. Our supersize show will be at the end of the year. One of the best moments on that show, probably in the 4-year history of us running it, was you bringing out that birthday cake to Coach Willard. He had no idea.
I didn't jump out of the cake. That would have been even better.
That would have been awesome.
But it had to have been a big cake.
Yeah. Shout out to Katie Willard, Coach Willard's wife, who put all that together. And we had nothing to do with any of it. She planned all that and just kind of gave us the instructions on what to do after the fact. It worked out perfect. JP, what you got?
Just one last question for Coach. Does a 100-pound bag of flour make a big biscuit?
Yes. I always said, Pope wear a big hat. There's a bear use the bathroom in the woods now. I'm telling you. Now, whoever gets the job west, they're gonna struggle with some. They're gonna have to get their kids straight on some of these sayings now.
Yep.
It's gonna be rough on them, but it'll be all right. He'll get through it, so he'll make it work, and it'll be good. Guys, I'll tell you this, and I'll let Desmond show. I'll let him finish up. I cannot thank you enough for what you do and for what you do for young people in our area. It is an honor, and it's been cool to watch our kids in this area be able to be on a show, learn how to try to articulate, talk about what's going on, and it's given them a platform and where people enjoy being around it and want to hear it, and that's really cool for our area, and it's been cool to watch it grow, and hope it keeps going. And if I can do anything to help, man, I'm all in, and it's a cool thing. And like I said, I am definitely going to be around. Like I said, it's going to be cool to go around and watch high school football, and there's going to be a part where it's probably going to be a little bit of a, oh man, I wish I was there, but I'm telling you what, I'm 100% at peace. And like I said, God talked to me on Thursday morning, and he told me it's okay, and I'm ready to roll.
I like the whole idea of JP Monday with Adrian Snow on the WCOG game of the week next year. That could be that. That. That's
the problem is he's a big whiner when the color guy overtalks him and stuff, and that is going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm going to have to hit him. I'm going to have to hit him up. He's going for a touchdown. And he's trying to call it.
Do that all the time. He loves it.
He's going to be a big baby about it. I'm telling you, he's going to be a big baby.
I got to get us out of here. A&T's pregame show starts in 7 minutes. I appreciate having you guys on. Coach Adrian Snow, JP Buddy from Franchise Players. You can catch him and Ryan Stone every Friday, 6 p.m. WCOG, WWBG, WTOB. They're all over the Triad right now. And Coach, of course, Hot Rod Funderburk, him and Chad Delp will have the start of East Forsyth Mount Tabor at 3 o'clock today. It's on the Mixler player on tobaccoroadsportsradio.com. Just scroll down to the secondary player, click there, you're in. I'll be there a little bit later on to pick up the call. Guys, I appreciate everything, and we got to get out of here. We'll be back here in just a bit. A&T's pregame show will start in a couple of minutes. So just thanks to everybody
Coach.
Today.
Thank you.
And we'll be back.
Congratulations, Coach.
Let's do the rundown.
Can we talk now? All right, we're good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Coach. We'll see you.
Thanks, Coach.
Holla if you need me.
All right.
Bye.